Missouri Senator Roy Blunt. Senator, welcome back to Big 550
Hey, McGraw, good to be with you, and to be in St. Louis on opening day is about as good as it gets.
You're right. Hey, you know what? It's a great weekend here. You've got the Blues, you have the Cardinals, you have the NRA convention, you've got the marathon on Sunday. This place is hopping.
Hey, what more could be going on? I'm going to speak at the NRA convention today, and I was there briefly last night. They have 74,000 different people coming this weekend to St. Louis for some of the NRA events. So that brings lots of people and lots of dollars to downtown St. Louis, and they like being there.
Safe to say that St. Louis City will probably be the safest city in America this weekend?
You would think so. You would think so.
I don't think anyone's going to try and mug somebody in downtown St. Louis.
Yeah, I think they're having, Governor Romney is coming today, and he has Secret Service now, so I think there is a different requirement for who can be in the what you can have on you in the hall
right
while he's there than after he leaves. By the time I speak, I assume everybody will be well healed again.
You backed the right horse early. You were a big supporter of Governor Romney early.
Well, I am. I think he'll be a fine president if he gets a chance to do that, and he understands the economy. He understands the risk-reward element of capitalism, and frankly, the current president doesn't. He's constantly talking about things that discourage people to invest money and create jobs, and he even admits that. He said, I'm not... the tax system should be about fairness instead of what makes the economy work. Frankly, we ought to be most concerned right now about what makes the economy work and what gets people back to work, and jobs and gas prices and things that I wish the current president was more focused on.
I want to talk about health care for a minute. We have a couple minutes with you. I have been outspoken, talked quite a bit about that there are people out there who can afford to buy health insurance but choose not to. There is no incentive for these people to get health insurance, and then when they do get sick, they end up going to the hospital, and we end up paying for them ultimately. There's got to be a way to force those people to pay for their own health insurance. Do you agree?
Or their own health care.
Or their own health care, right,
yeah, that's the other. Yeah. That's the other option. And, I think if people had more health insurance options, more people would buy health insurance. People that don't think they're going to get sick but know that if something bad happened to them, they might have a catastrophic need. That's maybe all they need to be able to buy is some kind of catastrophic policy that pays whatever would happen after whatever the catastrophic number in their life would be, 1,500, 5,000, 50,000. I don't know what it is. It varies. But there's no real health care marketplace. And I hear what you're saying, but can the government make you do that? That's really one of the fundamental questions here. There are about three questions about health care that are important. One is, if the answer to any of them is no on the current path, we shouldn't be on it. And the questions would be, is it constitutional? And we'll see.
Right.
Can we afford it? Absolutely not. And is it a good idea? And I don't think so. But even if it was a good idea and we couldn't afford it, we shouldn't do it. So, we're just headed down a bad path here instead of looking for ways to make the current system work better.
We force hospitals are not allowed to turn people away.
Right.
It's altruistic. It's wonderful, but it has created almost a dependency. And so if we force hospitals to do this, why can't we force humans to pay for their own health insurance?
Well, there's a difference in having a law that says hospitals have to treat somebody at the emergency room and telling people they have to buy an insurance policy and telling them what that insurance policy has to look like. The government can't make every decision for us better than we can make for ourselves. If there was more of a penalty if you didn't have insurance where you really actually had to pay the bill, where you couldn't walk away from the bill.
Right.
Hey, you took a chance and you decided not to have insurance, and at some point the things that you have worked for have to go to pay your health care bills. That probably would be a much bigger incentive.
Would you be in favor of having some type of catastrophic coverage? Everybody be forced to buy some type of catastrophic coverage?
I'm not in favor of everybody being forced to do anything. Now, if state governments want to do that, there may be a constitutional right to do that in various states. There's nothing in the United States Constitution that allows you to do that. If you could force people to buy health insurance, why couldn't you force them to buy a car? Well, why couldn't you force them to buy a specific kind of car?
Certainly understandable, but you don't have to have a car. And if you don't have a car, I'm not going to pay, or I'm not going to have to be charged to send a cab to your house to take you to work. You just won't get anywhere without a car. If you don't buy health insurance, I'm being forced to pay for your health insurance at some point down the road. Because when you get sick, you are ultimately going to go to a hospital or a doctor.
I see the debate here. I just don't know that it's a debate that produces a consequence. I think that or produces a result. I think that the healthcare law, the mandate provision, is probably unconstitutional. I'm not a lawyer. I'm equally opposed to this current plan we're on, whether it's constitutional or not, because I don't think it meets the other two criteria.
Let's switch topics. You deserve some praise at being out in front on this. This is something we've talked about. It's inherently unfair, Senator Blunt, that I own a store and I sell widgets, and you come into my store and I'm charged sales tax.
Right.
And you could buy the same thing I'm selling online and not be charged sales tax. It is inherently unfair, and you want to change that.
I do want to change it. In fact, in our state, you actually still owe the sales tax, but nobody ever collects it, nor are you asked to pay it. And if I come into your widget, a lot of people may go into your widget store and look at your widgets, use the police protection, the sidewalk, all the other things you use to come into your store, and then write the number down and go home and buy the widget and not pay. And the only difference in price may be the sales tax that they would pay if they got it from you. So it's a tax that should be collected. It is it's a fairness issue, but we need to do it. The internet is fully developed. There are lots of things are sold on the internet now, and that's fine. And this isn't a tax, by the way, on the internet. This is just the tax that you owe based on Missouri law and the law in 37 other states.
How hard or how comfortable or how confident do you feel that this will get passed?
I'm not confident that anything is going to get passed this year. I mean, the government is just almost the constitutional part of the government's almost ceased to work. And I was in my 115th county this week of 114 counties in the city of St. Louis since the election. So I've been in every Missouri county, and gas prices and cost of the people are paying for things and concern about jobs are out there, and the government is just not doing what people expect the government to do. We're not solving the big problems that need to be solved, and I don't think we can put them off very much longer.
Let's assume, for this next question, Mitt Romney wins the presidency, and Republicans take back the Senate, get 52, 53 senators, they have the House. What are the options of the Democrats compromising and playing ball with the Republicans? It seems to me like regardless of whoever wins, nothing's going to get done because the Democrats are going to be so angry they lost the House and they lost the Senate and they lost the White House. So gridlock continues no matter who wins.
A lot can get done. I think gridlock can't continue. My view is we're sort of on a generational cycle here where about every 25 or 30 years we make big decisions about who we're going to be for a long time. And the decision this time is, are we going to be more like Europe? Are we going to be the United States of America? And we'll see. I mean, the president's view of this is clear. And the other alternative is there, and I hope Americans take that. But if the circumstance you mentioned happens, the regulators cause as much problem now as anybody in America to getting our economy started again. The constant rules that would raise our utility bills and keep gas prices and energy supply needlessly restricted. So a Republican Senate can confirm people that a conservative president appoints, and hopefully we get back to where people will know that regulation isn't going to get worse, and if anything, it's going to get better, that we're not constantly going to be talking about higher utility bills and unknown health care costs and higher taxes, and the country moves on. Now, I do think we've missed a real opportunity with the divided government we've had the last year, because that's the very best time to solve big problems, because you can walk away from that solution and neither side can blame the other side for 20 years that The Social Security retirement age is going to have to go up for my kids. It's going to be higher than it will be for me, just like my retirement age is higher than my dad's was. All of those things could be being done right now, but it starts at the White House, frankly.
Senator Roy Blunt, our guest for a few more moments. How much of it is grandstanding, and how much of it is when the cameras are off and the microphones go away that you're actually friends with the other side from the aisle?
Well, I actually am pretty good friends with most of the members of the House and the Senate, both.
Democrats?
The Democrats. One of my, every day when I was the majority whip in the House and later the minority whip, I'd talk to Steny Hoyer, the Democrat who had my same job on the other side. We didn't vote together very often, but if a crisis occurred, we could get together and figure out how we made this happen. I think the idea that in a democracy that compromise is a terrible thing as opposed to the price you pay to live in a civilized society, that's a foolish idea. In government, the choice, McGraw, is never between the perfect and the possible. It's between the possible and not getting anything done. And there are too many people right now who think it's better not to get anything done than to do what's possible. And that means these problems just keep getting bigger.
Who would you say your best friend on the Democratic side is?
Still Mr. Hoyer, still Steny Hoyer, the Democrat whip in the House. I like a lot of the Democrats in the Senate and get along with them well. Both of my chairmen are people that I can work with. Dianne Feinstein, who's the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, the one committee that really is working the way you'd want it to work. Maybe it's because all that work is done behind closed doors. But the world's a dangerous place, and that committee's working. And I have a lot of respect for the chairman. I do lots of legislation that it has to, by definition, if you're going to get it done, involve people from both parties.
I will yield the floor for 1 minute for one more question, Senator Blunt. How is your relationship with Senator McCaskill?
It's not bad. We spent the last year, and I said when I started, I'm going to spend the next year finding everything that Claire McCaskill and I can work on together, and we've done that. And whether it's the flood situation in Missouri or the tornado response, or I think it's been a good relationship, and it's a respectful relationship. We don't agree a lot on lots of big things, and frankly, this Missouri Senate seat will be one of the seats that determine who's in the majority in the next Congress, and I'd like to be in the majority. I think the country would be better if we had a conservative majority in the Senate working with a pro-jobs conservative president rather than the current situation.
The man knows how to speak in minute sound bites. He's an expert. Senator Roy Blunt, happy opening day.
Great to be with you. Happy opening day.
Happy NRA convention. Put out the best foot forward for St. Louis today at the Dome, and have a good, safe weekend.
Hey, great to be with all of you.